So on this one, we've got a cone, kind of a tall, thin cone, and they're asking us what is the surface of the cone, total surface area. Well, let's go to the formula sheet. So here's the exam 3 notes that I gave you, and here's the cone, and here's the volume formula, but we're not doing volume right now. We need this formula, surface area. So notice the surface area formula has a bottom part, which is that circle on the ground. And that's, the area of a circle is just pi r squared. That's that right there. That's the bottom. And then pi rs is the round sides, like all the way around the sides here. The area of all the sides is pi rs. And what is s? S, notice, is the slant height. Do you see that? Let's be careful here. That's the big deal on this question, is the difference between actual height. Remember, actual height goes from the tip top straight down to the ground at 90 degrees. That's actual height, real height. Whereas the S is the slant height. It goes down the slant of the side of the cone. That's called slant height. And that's what we have to use for surface area. We have to actually use pi rs plus pi r squared. Pi r squared plus pi rs for slant height. Whereas for the volume formula, we use the actual regular height, h. See that difference? Okay, so let's come on back here. So the surface area is pi r squared plus pi r, and then there's that weird s, where the s is slant height. Okay, so let's go find that. That's actually the first thing we need to do, because notice the slant height is, here, let me put it clearly on our diagram. It's right there, isn't it? And they're not giving it to us. There's the slant height, and they never gave us the slant height. Everybody see that? They're not giving us the slant height. So the first thing we have to do is find S, which is the slant height. That's the first order of business before we can use the surface area formula. So first find S. How are we going to find S? Do you see it? If you keep going with this thing, you got a right triangle, don't you? See the right triangle right there? So you know how we work that. A squared plus B squared is C squared. The A down here is the 5. Tell me that's 5. The B over here is the 8. They're telling us that that's the actual height, isn't it? Straight down the middle, that's the 8. And the C is the S. Remember, the C is always the one across from the right angle. See the right angle down there? We have a right triangle. So that's A squared, 5 squared plus B squared. 8 squared is S squared, because C is S. C is the slant height. So that's 25 plus 64 is S squared. That's 89 is S squared. And then root it. So the slant height, use your calculator there. It's going to be some ugly decimal. So I'm getting 9.4339. They never said how many decimals on this problem. So whenever they don't say how many decimals, I just use 4. 4 is always safe. So there's the slant height. That's the first thing. Now we can go back to the surface area. Now that we have the S, which we need for the surface area formula, we can say, all right, pi r squared plus pi r s. So pi, what's the radius? Well, the radius is the 5, right? Because it's from the middle to the edge, halfway across the circle. That's the 5. So there's the 5, there's the 5. And then finally the S. Well, we just did a bunch of work to find that. That's the 9.439. 0.39. There's the S. So on your calculator then, what are you going to do? You're going to do the pi button times 5, or you can use the second power button if you want, plus the pi button times 5 times 9.4339, or whatever your slant height is, and we should get an answer. Let's see. So use that pi button. I'm getting 226.7284. There we go. Again, they didn't say how many decibels. I just give them 4. That's plenty. That's square feet because area is square units. We're finding surface area. So the first thing we had to do, so again, the formula for surface area for a cone is pi r squared, which is the circle on the bottom, plus pi rs, which is the sides. And S is the slant height. Well, they didn't give me the slant height. They gave me the straight down the middle height of 8 and the radius at the bottom of 5. So I had to first find the slant height using a squared plus b squared is c squared because that's a right triangle right there. So you can always use a squared plus b squared equals c squared when you have a right triangle. So that's 5 squared plus 8 squared is s squared. So we solve for s there. And then I plug that s in to the surface area formula and calculate the total surface area. There we go.